What is up, Internet? This is Minty Kiwi Crunch bringing you another strike and advice guide. Again, I said guide. I don't include guide in the title and the tile image. Whatever. It's a guide. It's advice. It's hints. It's strategy. It helps you out. Hopefully. I hope. I didn't start the video that I was going to watch and do this, so I didn't forget anything. Because I felt like I might have forgotten something in the airstrike, but I didn't. Because it's all in the brain. Anyways, moving on. This is... At first, when you start doing this strike at level 8, easily the hardest strike you've come to because it's so much harder. There's so many more enemies during the boss, and it's just really overwhelming if you're not prepared for it. I know this game has been out for a week now, and you probably already played this, and you might, or if you haven't and you're looking to play it, this will definitely help you for sure. When I first did this strike, it took me 5 tries to kill the boss. We've now gotten it down to this being one of the easiest strikes we do. I said the Earth one was easy. It is, but this one might be easier. It really all depends on what your team does and how well they're prepared for this strike. Anyways, moving on. The footage I'm going to be showing is actually at level, I believe, 24. I was going to say not... I got myself confused because I did this strike at level 12. But this is level 24 strike on my level 25 hunter. Build is in the description, link to it rather. You can see what I use and how I use it. It's a very brief video, so check it out if you want. Anyways, first real difficult area is, again, there's a area where you have to hold off for 3 waves. It's not all that difficult to do, really. You just need to know what spawns and how to deal with it. The first wave is mostly thralls and 3 knights. Not that bad. You can really go through this one very quickly and not have a problem with it if everyone's focused on the enemies. Second wave, it gets a little bit more challenging. They send out some hollowed acolytes. You'll see me, I've done this strike so many times that I just go over to the door they always spawn at and immediately activate my super and use the the razor blade and send some blasts down at the door, and it usually takes out a good amount of them. And if I have any arc blade super left, I'll go through and just melee attack everyone. Then there's, I believe, 3 or 4 knights that come in at this part as well. Most of them, I believe, have, I think 2 of them have guns and 2 of them have blades. Kind of varies, so be careful for the ones with blades. They generally tend to they're generally the things that actually kill me on this one. I have gotten to the point where I can do this strike without dying at level 24, but in the event I do, it's definitely because of the knight with the sword. Moving on, third wave comes more, God, I'm losing my thought. Comes wizards. Wizards spawn at this one. They might spawn wave 2. They kind of mesh together. These waves are very quick, much quicker than the ones on Earth. There's also a boss wizard that you'll have to fight. He can be a pain. I suggest using your heavy weapon against him. I've been carrying an LMG now. I don't really use my rocket all that much, so I usually just lay in with an LMG, and it usually gets the job done. There's more knights, of course, in this wave, and a few corrupted thralls, so look out, or cursed thralls. I keep calling corrupted thralls. Same fucking thing, right? Anyways, these waves aren't that bad. There's nothing really to kill you except for those knights, and the wizard can be a pain. So definitely make sure you look out for those. If you're running a similar class to me, then you can definitely revive people with the blink strike where you go invisible. It definitely helps. Moving on, I would definitely take the time. I start out with a shotgun. I usually switch to a sniper rifle in this room. It might be a little early to do that because I really don't use it till the boss, but you can pick up ammo along the way on these next few areas. So, reason being, you don't get your special ammo from your shotgun over to your sniper rifle. You'll have to redo it again. So I would definitely recommend switching there and just stock up on ammo for the final boss. Moving on, there's an next area. There's an ogre and a hollowed knight, along with a few cursed thralls and regular thralls. Not a terrible room. I wouldn't really worry about that one too much. Then you enter this You Urkel into the center of bones. You enter the circle of bones, and nothing too terrible here. There's 2 Hollow Knights down the hallway you have to go. So that's pretty much it. That's the only difficult part, and even then with 3 people, 2 Hollow Knights aren't that bad. So moving on to the boss, I definitely recommend not shooting at him until you have majority of the enemies clear, or your team is advanced enough to handle it. The thing that always killed me at this part was definitely because, like in the beginning, when I first started doing this, was that I would just focus on the boss as would everyone else, and all the enemies that spawn in just absolutely annihilate you because there's so many of them. So definitely focus on taking out the enemies, and that's actually, I say in the Earthstrike, I usually focus on the enemies before I focus on the boss, even when the new waves spawn in. It's just how I function. I do that here. I don't really do the most damage to this guy, as my teammates do, but I do focus on getting rid of all the other enemies. This isn't a very good example of it's a good example because we show how well we know this strike and how well we know what to do, because you don't see me shooting at all the enemies. You see most of us shooting at all the enemies and shooting at the boss. And we do this in probably the quickest I've ever done this strike. But where I usually hang out either on this side by these rocks, like midway through, or I'll cut to it, I hang out at the opposite end of the entrance by that rock. Again, hardest thing is definitely the enemies and the knights. The knights, there are a few sword knights along with the regular knights with their guns. There's a few acolytes that have the knight's weapon, that like blaster weapon that does a lot more damage than their basic gun. So definitely look out for that and make sure to aim for those. As for the actual ogre, unlike in normal ogre, I think his name is what, Photog? Or Fogoth. His critical isn't in his face. His critical is actually in his stomach, and it's rather hard to hit when he's doing his main fire, and actually when he's just walking, because he's kind of crouching over it, so you can't really get a good shot on it. So that is a very important note. Definitely don't aim for his face. Aim for his like stomach, chest, like mid region there. There are 2 dropship waves that come in. The second one has 2 wizards, and then another one spawns above where I'm standing. It is good to note that they mostly spawn above you when they spawn in, and they're not like brought in by a dropship. They spawn above on both sides, and then they'll drop down and attack. Each wave, the first wave, there's a lot of thralls and 2 knights and a few acolytes. Second wave, there's, I believe, 1 wizard, a bunch of cursed thralls, 2 knights, and then thralls will just keep spawning randomly, as will acolytes and knights. So that's really why you need to focus on the other enemies and not the boss entirely. I actually end up not using my super during this. This is one of the strikes that I'll actually reserve my super for. If I'm ever in a pickle, I'll use my super and get out of it, because that's easily the best reason to have it for this fight, and it's just something that's ingrained into my head at this point. But this one really does depend on your team. You saw at the beginning, they actually started shooting at it beforehand, so I just went straight to work on killing the enemies. The second dropship just came in with the knights and cursed thralls. And as you can see, we just rifled through them. And this is actually one of the first times I've ever seen all the ammo in one place. Usually we have to scrounge around on this map to get ammo. When my friend Carter and I play this strike, we played this strike and we had a random join us, and it was just bad. We were all almost out of ammo. But like you can see, I actually ended up not seeing too many of the wizards this strike. I think I might have shot at 2 or 3, or 1 or 2 during this part, but my teammates did an excellent job taking care of them. Like that wizard, when I started shooting it, was pretty much dead, as is the boss. This was a very easy strike for us, surprisingly. and I was really excited about how well it went, considering everything. But I'm going to wrap up this video. I will show at the end, you can see I'll get a bounty when I run into him. I'll get the bounty for an exotic weapon. I'm working on a guide for that now. I guess I'll release the first part of it. It's a difficult guide, and because I don't play that much Crucible, it really is difficult for me. But I'll have that for you soon. Another strike video will probably be coming up now, or coming up next rather. So I'll see you guys then. Let me know if you want me to keep making these, and I will. There's what, 4 strikes left after this one? Or 3? No, there's 3. There's 2 on Venus, 1 on Mars. And that's it. Maybe I'll do 1 on the raid, if I can ever get a team together to do it. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. See you.